Good evening. People in Somerset are being warned to leave their homes this evening as floodwaters rise. The emergency services want those affected to act now.
Villages are being evacuated. Travel through Somerset and the southwest has been severely disrupted. The weather warnings suggest there's more to come.
So where are the homes at risk? More than 150 properties are in the affected areas. Fordgate and Moorland are subject to warnings of floods. People there are being told to get out now.
Also, the area along the A361 from Eastling to Boroughbridge. The police can't even get to the tiny hamlet of Saltmoor because it's cut off. They've been using loudspeakers from a helicopter to alert some householders. A rest centre has been set up in North Petherton for families with nowhere to go.
Now, if you're one of the people affected but don't know what to do, you should ring the police on the number 101. And our reporter Madeleine Ware has been following this developing story today. She joins us now from Northmoor Farm in Somerset. Madeleine.
Thanks, Liz. Yes, I'm actually by the Northmoor pumping station where the huge operation to pump water off the Somerset Levels continues tonight. But it seems all this may not be enough to save nearby villages. We've actually spent much of the day today in the village of Moorland. But this afternoon, the media, like local residents, were told by police to leave. And what a day it's been for those residents. A chaotic day, as the fear of having to leave their homes finally became a grim reality.
We've got that up, and I don't think we can't save both sofas.
A last attempt to save what they can before leaving. With the help of neighbours, Sue Crocker is shifting valuables off the floor of her dream retirement home in Fordgate. She also has a small holding here. With the garden flooded, animals too have been moved to higher ground.
The sheep have gone up to a farm, and the dogs are going to go there. We've got gun dogs out in the kennels, and they're going. And the cats will come with me to my daughter's in Somerton, because I need to leave.
How hard has this been for you?
Dreadful. Really, really dreadful. I mean, it's like Chinese torture, because it just gets closer and closer and closer.
Sue made the decision to go, but at that point, she was one of the few. Most people determined to stay. In nearby Moorland, filling sandbags by the dozen.
We joined this local councillor as he returned to his home in Fordgate this morning to find it awash.
I feel just the same as any other resident, really totally let down by successive governments who haven't put in money into flood relief in this area.
5 or 6 degrees in the north, up to 9 or 10 in the south. You might convince yourself that spring is on the way until we get into Friday evening, because there's the next storm already knocking on the door. Winds picking up ahead of that. Gales, perhaps even severe gales, coming in from the south. A bad direction for places like Dawlish, gusts up to 70 miles an hour. More gales for many of us through the early part of the weekend.
This is part of the Exeter to Cornwall train line, suspended mid-air, filleted with ease by last night's high tide, stripped of its ballast and swaying in the wind, as useless as the seawall which used to protect it.
Now, some of the people who have left their homes in Moorland have now had to take up temporary accommodation in a nearby holiday park.
It's been more than a week since they had to flee their homes. They still have no idea when they'll be able to return. Andrew Plant has spent the day with them.
The future is just totally uncertain for us as individuals, but also for the community as a whole.
Julian and Mary Taylor helping run the relief effort from their temporary kitchen table.
Over the past 6 weeks, we've seen the water rising gradually over Northmoor and Fordgate. We initially thought, because of the height of our house, that we would not be flooded, and then we had a police helicopter tell us to move out.
Your life is suddenly suspended, and it's not just suspended for a week, a month, it could be a year or more. And even then, things will not be the same again.
Just 1 mile away from Moorland, these holiday houses, now home to residents, calling themselves the flooding refugees.
Welcome to BBC Points West with Sabette Chowdhury and Alex Lovell. Our main story tonight, will the land still be fit for farming? As we get a temporary break from the rain, questions are asked about the future of the Somerset Levels. The hard talk about the future for residents and farmers on the Somerset Levels has started in earnest as the recent stormy weather begins to ease just a little.
Last night's BBC Panorama programme included views of some commentators who think that parts of the land may have to be abandoned if there's a repeat of this year's rainfall.
While some have told us they'd sell up if they could, many have said all that's needed is some basic maintenance of their beloved landscape. Scott Ellis reports.
The leader of the opposition meeting flood victims in Fordgate today. Ed Miliband also wading into the debate about what's happened on Somerset's levels and moors.
I'm afraid what I've heard from people here is that they feel the response was too slow, that the government was too slow to realise the seriousness of the situation facing people here, and lessons have to be learned.